Hello. How you doing, Steve?
Hey Ben, I'm doing great. What about you?
I can't complain at all. A little bit bloated. I ate too much cake about half an hour ago. So happy and bloated, I'll say. Yeah. Excuse me. Thank you very much for joining on this wonderful evening.
Very happy to be there.
Yeah, well, you seem to be that you've been quite busy recently. I've seen you popping up everywhere and conferences and new cool tools and all this type of stuff. So, yeah, you must be pretty tired. So there you go.
uh,
Before we get into all that, would you like to quickly introduce yourself
okay,
so the
I
good people know who you are and
feel
your
better.
background and all that? Yeah.
Okay, for anyone who don't know me, and I think it's 99% of all, my name is Štěpán Rešl, but please call me Steve. It will be much more easier. Uh,
Will do.
I'm from small country in the middle of Europe, which is called Czech Republic. That's why my name is so strange and weird. And I'm co-founder of a company called Data Brothers, and I'm running a podcast. I'm running the web blog called the Data Market.
That's the one. I know it well. And I was on your like podcast recently, right?
Yes,
That was very good fun.
that's something that we are doing for Czech community, which is called Power BI Kafičko, like
Okay.
Power BI Coffee. And sometimes we're welcoming special guests like you, Ben.
Thank you very much. And you made me feel so special as well. Yeah, so basically, a lot of what I've been seeing you do recently, I've had a lot of interest in because I've been on rants as of late. You know, when you have those times um, when you're doing your work and you kind of hit more obstacles than you usually do, or you start to like work in a different way, and all of a sudden this pops up, and for what me, the two things have been, well, one of the main things has been usage metrics, which we've had a small chat about in Twitter.
Yeah, usage metric is great tool, but not every time. I would say it like it's great to have an ability to find out who's using our report or our stuff in the workspaces. But why I need to go into so much workspaces to get the result of
Mm,
adoption of my work?
mm, yeah,
Uh, I've currently have like 74 workspaces in my company,
yeah,
which is not a lot.
yeah.
But when every single workspace has its own meaning, especially in case of a content where we're preparing something, I would like to test if everything properly, and I would like to find out if it's used by proper users. I would like
Mm,
to stash this information for much longer because running the analysis just on 30 days of usage is like nothing. It
mm.
helps, but not too much. So, yep.
I mean, one of the things that's also frustrated me a lot is the I forget what it's called now. I can just quickly open my own Power BI workspace. The admin monitoring, the admin monitoring. So then you have the Purview Hub when you get the feature. I find that basically completely useless. I got to say, um, it's not. It's so it could be good if there was flexibility to it. You could edit it. You could all that kind of stuff because it's so undynamic. It's just
Yeah, I have. Uh, okay. In case of admin monitoring, I'm pretty happy that it appeared
mhm.
because it's better than nothing. And especially in case of feature usage and adoption part, it can be very handy because it contains
Mm,
information from active activity events. And
mhm.
if you know what you're looking for, you're pretty capable to find what you need. But you need to know, which can be very hard for someone who's just starting with using activity events. Because in that case, there are too much activities and it's very hard to define which is what,
Yeah.
like generate SAS token. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I mean, you said that it's better than nothing. I would agree, but only in the sense that on a scale of 0 to 100, one is better than zero.
Yeah, I
We still have 99 to get, or let's say like 50 to get halfway there. and I know it's like still preview or whatever, but I just find it so yeah.
For me, it's very hard to say something completely nice about it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that.
And it's mostly because I've already created the something that I'm calling like admin cockpit,
That's cool.
where I have much more
Yeah.
stuff already coming up to me directly on a homepage.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I know that I can change it anytime. I'm very happy to have at least something,
Yeah.
to have at least the possibility for tenants that are just starting to
Yeah.
just pop inside, try
Mm.
it on your own, start checking what's inside of your logs. Because for most of our BI admins, it was quite a hard time to actually receive your logs.
Yeah.
And this is something that helps, at
Yeah.
least somehow.
Mm. Yeah, I mean it's great. I mean, you said you developed this tool, and I also am very excited to kind of start using it at some point. Or honestly, I've seen you post about it, but I'll be honest, I haven't read about it yet. I will, because I really want to get there. I think it's great that there are these people who produce this sort of tools like yourself, and but it goes back to something that I was saying, and honestly these days I can't remember where I say these things. Do I say it on Twitter? Did I say it on LinkedIn? Did I say it on a live stream? I said it at some point in my life. That's all I know. That there seems to be too much reliance on it from the Microsoft's point of view. Like it's great that they have this community of very, very talented people, such as yourself, who can create these wonderful things. But wouldn't it just be nice if it was just there,
Yes,
And
but okay, I think I can understand why maybe for Microsoft it's quite hard to create something like that, because they have enormous amount of customers and
yeah.
everyone has specific needs. So create something so generic that would suit needs to everyone.
Well, no, because I think it
Very
would
hard.
just be as simple as giving us our own data sets for our usage metrics.
Yes, of course, that would be pretty awesome.
Because
And
if we had that, we could do pretty much anything we wanted. It'd be
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
That's actually true. And if you remember, a few months ago, and even in some tenants, it's still working, you're pretty capable to download your usage meters data set.
Mm.
But not everyone.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not depending on tenant settings.
Mm.
It's just depending
Mm.
on version of your Power BI service, if you
Mm.
are capable to download it or not,
Yeah.
which is absolutely strange, and still you will have it just for one workspace.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's odd. It's but it's one of those things I kind of get myself worked out about, but then I just fall back on I'm sure they'll sort it out at some point. I'm sure it'll get there. But actually, this is this comment here that will Microsoft ever release a complete feature? I like that comment, and it was also like occurred to me the other day that I do think they have this habit of releasing something in public preview and then leaving it in that state for quite a long time before making any significant updates.
Are you talking about the field map?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is a classic, right?
Yeah.
This is and never changed. That's one for sure. To be fair, that one was always pretty reasonable. I mean, it could have had more maps on. You had to get, but there was always okay. But there's these features that are just okay. It's preview, and then for quite a while, it's just statically preview. Like, okay, when's the cool stuff coming that'll make it ready? I don't know. It's odd.
Isn't, I think right now it's 80 years, or maybe even, yeah, I think it's 80 year. Oh no, sorry, 6 years and 10 months since it get into the preview, the field map, which is
I th-
for
yeah.
enormous time.
Well, I think I'm just turning 41, and I think it was released as preview on my dad's 5th birthday. Probably that's how long it's been. It's been a good 65 years, I think. But no, yeah, just forever. Basically, it's just always been there forever, which is quite
Yeah.
a thing. But what are you gonna do? Are you 1 second? Let's have a look what I need to see in here. Are you talking about all core visuals? Aren't they? That's so brutal, but true.
It's brutal, but
But
yeah.
actually, this is a really, I like the comment. It's funny, but also it's a nice segue onto it, like another thing. I don't want to rush through all the topics, but when I do feel strongly about stuff, it's hard not to. But your SVG work as well. It's interesting because recently I I started using Deneb less, not because I
Mhm.
didn't want to use it. Just I was working on a couple of projects where I thought, okay, maybe for this I don't need Deneb so much, or and it was strange going back to these core visuals, as they call them, because you kind of forget the restrictions.
And
Um,
there's quite a lot of them actually.
yeah, it's wildly frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. Uh, I like core visuals. I prefer using them,
Yeah.
but exactly as you said, there's so much limitations
Mm.
that you will encounter in a few moments when you're trying to do something outside the box.
Yeah.
And quite often we need that.
Yeah.
So that was maybe what brought me into the SVGs
Makes sense.
in
Yeah.
case of a Power BI, because it was like, okay, where I actually capable to use them?
Mm.
Table and a matrix. Nah,
Mm.
that's not a lot,
Yeah.
but uh, I was using them in a matrix since 2019.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True.
Because
Yeah.
you are still able to
True.
use them in a box.
Yeah, that's square. It was just the
Yeah.
square, right? Yeah.
Yes. And not just SVGs, you were capable to run a measure that was able to connect to Google API and returns you the mini chart. It was actually pretty fun
That's
to
quite
do.
cool. I didn't realize that.
Uh, but when we've received the support inside the matrix to
Mm.
have separate size for height and width,
Yeah.
it was much better.
Mm.
And when finally we received the new card visual,
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's when it started.
yeah, where we can actually do mostly anything, like literally
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
the real fun begins.
Yeah. You did a pretty cool presentation for the Berlin user group. I remember a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. I can't remember.
Thanks.
It was very much really enjoyed it. What I noticed about it, and which I find quite interesting, I've kind of looked at it before, like when Charticulator was bigger, when it existed, if you will, it doesn't seem to exist anymore. That it's kicking around, it's there, but it's not supported or whatever.
I think is there. I think it's in a app source,
Yeah.
but no one is talking about it anymore.
Yeah, because they stopped developing it. They
Yeah.
stopped kind of giving it new features or whatever. I can't remember what they said. It's had its day in the sun or whatever you say. And back then it was kind of like, which is better, Deneb or Charticulated, and the answer was always doesn't really matter. You can use both, and it's nice to have that option to enhance what you can do in Power
Mhm.
BI. And I guess recently, maybe this is just what I see in my Power BI bubble, is it's now kind of SVG and Deneb, right? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the same what I see these days, uh, and it's very nice that it actually depends, because if you know how to write a Viga, you will go for the app.
yeah.
If you are able to support custom visuals, you can go for the app.
Mm,
If you don't know how to write a Viga or you're not supporting custom visuals, SVGs will be your only option.
mm, yeah. Sorry, just also bring up this comment here from this. You also encounter these limitations inside the box. You don't need to go outside. This is actually a fair comment. This is very true. One of the things was it today, and I was like astonished. It was I created just a very basic visual, and it was just with the resizing of the visual. If I made it too high, then the
Mhm.
numbers wouldn't actually appear in the bar. If I reduced the size, then they would appear. It was just really, and I was like, "What? That can't be." And because I hadn't used it for so long, I forgot. And my intention, by the way, isn't to have like a massive downer on Power BI and all this type of stuff, but you just do have these moments, or you go through these a week or so where it's like, oh god, come on, man, this is so frustrating.
Yeah, and if you combine it with on visual interactions or
Mm.
on visual editing, I
Hmm.
really don't know how it's called. Sorry if everyone who's developing that, I'm not using it and I'm not about to start using it.
Oh, the on object
Yeah, yeah,
formatting.
on
Is that
object.
right? Yeah. Something like that.
Today, I've seen that in our company, someone was using that, and I was just saying like,
Mm. Yeah.
one, only one is actually trying to give it a chance.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I really do try. I try not to be this like grumpy person who's like, I'm not going to try. And I tried it when it first got released, and I think I tried for like maybe 2 weeks, and then I was like, no, it's not ready yet. Just it will get there. The reason I did so was because I knew at some point that would just be the way they're going to make it, that it's always that. And I was like, no, so I switched it off, and then there was some updates to it, and people said they were pretty good. I switched it on, and I probably used it for, I'd say, almost a month. But then I was like, it's just too much. It was effort every day. I wasn't getting used to it. It was just constant effort to actually doing it. And here's one. Someone just said they're actually using it. Where's that comment? Yeah, I just started using on object. Now that you can pin the visual pane to the side. Yeah, okay, that was one of the improvements, that it's not like disappearing all the time, because that was just that was no fun.
For me, it's a decision if it will take me uh, more time than previously. I will not use that
Mm.
because the original intentions were to make it much more easier to user to actually do what they want.
Yeah.
I'm not capable to do that. After every update, I've given it a chance again,
Yeah.
but still I'm returning back.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm the same. But what I find interesting is that it was sold generally as, reducing clicks, like, a few clicks. And the thing is, just because I mean, please, if I'm wrong, correct me. This is fine. I don't mind being wrong. I don't think that necessarily that reducing clicks makes something more intuitive. It,
Yep.
so I think it's maybe the goal was wrong, or what, I don't know, but it just seems to be, it's just not intuitive, basically, is what I'm trying to say in too many words.
I have one example. Uh, Quite often, when I'm inside the visual
Mm.
and I'm developing my measure,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have the ability to format the visual on the right side and still have opened the
Ah,
measure or be switching between measures. And the
yeah.
paints are still closing. I know that I can click on
Mm.
them by right and
Mm.
make more of them open, but they already were opened. Why I need to
Yeah,
use
yeah,
another click for that?
yeah,
I don't
that's
want
fair.
to.
Yeah, I get it. uh,
Especially, I've already just grabbed the screen large enough to have Power BI with all panes opened,
yeah.
and now I need to every time open them by myself. No, I don't want to.
No, I get it. I did, but I'm trying to be fair and bring up positive comments as well, just to, just to be a nice
Yeah,
person. With the
I'm just sharing my experience.
That's fine. I am. So I think because we both seem to agree, I'm trying to bring up someone who disagrees with us. There you go. With the pinning, I can have the visual paint and formatting paint visible at the same time. This saves time. It does. This is a
Yep.
fair comment, and that's the way it should be. So maybe this conversation now will inspire me to switch it back on. I think that's also the challenge as well. Hey, Donald, how you doing? Thanks for joining. I think that's always the challenge as well, is that you have to work whilst learning like a new like user interface. It's naturally going to slow you down. So
Yep.
me speaking from my personal, my brain naturally rejects it. So it is that initial effort. But I think if after a week maybe it hasn't become easier, then there's something wrong.
Do you remember how the format pane changed
Of course,
a year and a half ago?
I do. I do.
That slowed us
It
initially
did. It did.
for like 1.25. But just 1.25.
Mm,
Currently, the on object for me is
mm,
like twice.
yeah,
And
yeah,
once we will get at least to 1.5, I
yeah.
will start using it. I
That's fair.
promise that.
That's fair. See, You've said it now on a live stream. It's recorded,
Yeah,
so you have to stick by that. But
I
this
will.
is, I think that the previous format, the change, I didn't like it, and it was because it was a thing. Oh, it saves the double scroll bar, which I'd never cared about that much, to be honest. It did inspire me to use the search part a bit more often,
Mhm.
which is a better practice. To be fair, I never really considered it. I do search now what I'm looking for.
Now it will hear very badly, but there's a search.
Yeah. Like if you want to look for like font size, you just type like font and it'll just bring up all the fonts. Or if you want to look for padding, you can type in padding and it brings up all the padding, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I think I've used it. I think I'm not sure if I've ever used that. Actually,
Fair enough. There you go.
I'm just going by my mind. Like I'm opening without even looking on
Mm.
that site. Usually.
Okay, so but if you got like the visualization pane, there's like a search bar in the visualization pane right there, or whatever it's called. Yeah, the not visualization pane. Jesus
Okay,
Christ,
I'm
man.
going to
The
open that.
formatting pane. They've got the formatting pane. There's a search right there.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, but actually it's a good point about how much it slowed you down. One thing, maybe someone in the chat can let me know if this is still an issue. The biggest issue I probably had was with the on object formatting I'm talking about again now, was that the pane with the name of the measures was too small, so you couldn't see the entire name of your measure.
Mhm.
Is that still an issue? Someone please tell me, because that drove me nuts. So if you had something for like whatever, say net sales, but you have like many different versions, you could only see like the word like net sales like 10 times, not net sales previous year, net sales current month, all that type of stuff, you know? That to me was like, well, I literally can't see the name of my measure, so how am I meant to use this? So yeah, what are we gonna do? Search box is essential to use. Yes, it is. I
I
agree.
think I will now got flamed
Yeah,
because I'm not using that. But really, I just remember in my head where the things that I for what I'm looking for.
that makes
So
sense.
I'm just okay. Also, I have my scroll wheel or quite high setting. So
Yeah, it's the standard mouse, right?
yeah.
It's very cool.
So I'm pretty able get where
Mm,
I'm looking for, and usually I'm just going from up to bottom and
mm,
setting the visual before I'm inserting anything inside.
yeah, fair enough. So
So
we all have our different ways of working.
yeah,
That's why we all have our very specific little gripes and stuff. Yeah. 1 second. You'd have to. Whenever there's a comment I've just seen, you'd have to have a measure like a monster to exceed the width. Well, well, I can't speak for the most recent version of, but I can tell you that, for example, like I'm trying not to get, I mean, my previous company, we did have pretty long measure names, but they were required to be that long because there were variations on a thing, you know? So something net sales and then like some words afterwards. So sometimes they
mhm.
were quite long, but not massively long. They were maybe like, I don't know, just like 4 words or something. So that's why. So I guess it hasn't been updated. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's just me specifically being strange and having random things that I worry about. Yeah, mate. I also want. I mean, there's lots to talk about. I've been lucky. You've been at conferences recently as well. Is that correct? Did I see your face popping up somewhere? You seem like you've been like around and busy doing this, that, and the other. I'm not sure how you have time to do it all.
I've tried to.
You've tried to.
I've tried to, especially for this year.
Mm-hmm.
The last conference where I were, or where I was in Berlin on a data mosh pit.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. I was good. I couldn't get to that. Please. That looked really fun.
It was awesome. It
Nice.
was actually one of the best conferences where I've ever been.
Cool.
But okay, there never ever was a metal conference,
Yeah. Fair enough.
but they've set the bar very high.
Nice. So were you presenting there, or
Yep.
what was your topic, mate?
Release the height from Power BI REST API.
Nice. There you go.
And you wouldn't expect it that, but it all ended with a SVG.
I'm shocked. Class.
Because I was actually talking there about how end users are looking on a report, how they should consume them in an app. We all know that, but that like they see the report and everything behind is just a black box.
Okay.
Are we sure that they should go into the report or even into the app? No, they're not. If they are looking for one specific information, they should not go outside the tool where they are working. They should have this information when they need it.
Yeah.
So I was showing how to use execute query endpoint through the Power Automate to grab the data from a Power BI or the whole SVG.
Of course.
Encode it, wrap it into adaptive card, and push it into the Teams chat.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's quite fun.
Yeah, sounds pretty fun. Very
So
nice.
at the end, I was showing, or I've opened the Teams and I've received from Power Automate the adaptive card with the data mosh pit and a line chart of how people were registering for the conference.
Nice. That's really cool. And how was it your first time in Berlin as well? How was it?
Yeah, actually it was.
Okay. Nice.
I've never been in Berlin before, which is, for me at least, quite strange because Czech Republic is just next to Germany.
Yeah, yeah.
And in Dresden, I were quite often, but never in Berlin.
Yeah. Oh, it's also a beautiful city, Dresden. Yeah.
But I like that city. I need to visit Berlin soon again.
Well, next time you visit, we can say hi at that time because I was disappointed I couldn't go. It was my dad was visiting, which was of course great to see my dad, but it overlapped with that conference, and also there was a SQL conference in Frankfurt, I believe.
Yep.
And that would also have been cool to get to. One of them, probably not both, to be fair. Yeah, honestly, this year has been a bit strange for conference because I think I told myself at the start of this year that this year I wanted to put in more effort and get to some conferences. And I've been to literally zero. I've done such a bad job. So, and I think it's just been a combination because I changed the job, so I was busy with that, and just other stuff came up. So I've kind of doubled down of what I want to do, and then next year I want to go to like at least 3. That's what I'm saying.
Set your bar higher. Let's call it like you would go for 10 at least.
Okay, fine. I'll kind of try to book the dates of 10, and then I'll get of those 10, I'll get to 3. That's fine. I can live with that.
Okay.
No, because I was speaking to a couple of weeks ago to Martha from Norway, and she was talking about the Fabric February. There you go. We would love to see you both in Fabric February in Oslo. That's exactly what I'm just perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Hey,
fantastic. I would love to get at that. Really, I would. And so yeah, we shall see if I do a much better. Oh, say if I do a better job than I did this year. That's not difficult, to be honest, because I massively failed. But seriously, it's been a bit annoying because I was also it's led me to basically take all of my sessions from Sessionize, and I'm going to delete them all and completely redo them. And just because I submitted some stuff, and I think I got maybe out of, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 submissions, I got like 1 was accepted, and I was like, I've got to redo them because I was reading them, to be honest, and I was like, you know what, I haven't got a lot of experience in that area. And I was reading them, and I was like, you know what? I'll be honest. Even reading them, even to me, they don't sound that interesting. So I was like, yeah, let's start this again, Ben. You got to put in more effort there.
So I'm very looking forward for next year. What you will be sending?
Yeah, I think just a bit more like provocative names in regards to a bit more something that sounds a bit more, I don't know, rather than this thing is like Deneb, whatever, just to kind of. Don't delete, refactor. Okay, yeah, I can.
That can definitely work to
that makes sense.
refactor them, make them much more interesting. name of a session will solve it for 90% of the people.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the names, It's just I was looking, I was like, actually, you know what? These names, it just you can tell I was doing it and just wanting to make it like very factual, or yeah. But it's. I completely agree with that. It's got to be the names, because that's what people first read, and that's what goes on your whatever, your slides or whatever. And yeah, we shall see next year, maybe 1 or 2. But if not, just attend, just to be there.
I believe that next year we will meet each other on some conferences and both will be speaking.
Yes, we shall see.
Definitely.
But we met at Power BI Next Step, right?
Yep, last year.
Yeah, we met there last year. I think we yeah, it's right. Remember, because I think you were one of the first people I saw when I got there. But that remains the only one I've been to in person, because the others I did were all remote.
Oh, okay.
And that's the other thing. I need to do more stuff that's not remote. I need to emerge from my desk.
By the way, you can still submit a session for Power BI Cruise. It will be for next year.
I really want to, but the stupid thing about that is I do get quite seasick. So
It's a huge boat.
I know, and also my surname is Ferry. It would be perfect, right? So yeah, maybe I just go and just pop some travel sickness tablets. And if somehow I do get sick, that would be the ultimate challenge, to get through a session whilst being really seasick.
Definitely.
That came when the first time I was on like a proper sized ferry. It was when I was probably, actually would have been 18. It was the first time I ever went to Germany. I was just doing my A levels, and I remember we came back. It was probably the standard, I don't know, Dover, Calais. I don't know what we were doing, but the weather was really bad. Like the water was really rough, and it couldn't. What's it called? Is it called docking or something? They couldn't dock. I don't know. So the ship, the ferry couldn't, dock. And so we had to stay like on the water for like an extra, like just sit there for like 5 hours or something. And I was just ill. I was lying there with my eyes closed, trying not to move. And I was like, so I think since then I've been scared of ferries, as in not my family.
Now I can fully understand that, because after something like this, it needs to be very hard to convince yourself, but try that. It's definitely worthy.
Try? Okay, fair enough. So, tell you what, I'll try it, and when I get there, and you'll be there, of course, as well. If
you never know,
No, you have to be, because this is the rule. You have to be there as well, because you convinced me to go, which means if I do get seasick, I'm going to sit next to you the entire time, because it'll be your fault. But it does look.
In this case, I would drunk you, so you would not be sure if you're seasick or if you're drunk.
Yeah, or just throw me overboard. It's the easiest way to deal with it, But did you go to the first one?
Yep, it was a very awesome experience. Cool. To do a 3-hour session, it was quite awesome.
That is cool. And how was it? Did you have internet connection on the boat, or did you have to do it all? Yeah, okay.
The first sessions has internet connection. The rest of sessions at the end also have internet connections because of the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But we was not sure if we would be able to have internet connection. So I've prepared the session to be completely able to run it without any internet.
Fair enough.
So it was about the data visualization. So
fair enough. I think this reminded me. I forget when I had this conversation. It was on Twitter. It was a Twitter DM. Someone DM'd me on Twitter a while back, and they said, I'm having this issue with this visual, and for some reason it's just not loading. It's not loading. I was like, that's really weird. And then there was no like massive amount of information. But long story short, it turned out the visual was a map. And I honestly hadn't realized that with the maps, you actually need the connection, otherwise it doesn't load. And after I was thinking about it for 10 minutes, and I was like, maybe, is it possible? Is it, you need connection for that? And that's exactly what it was. I was like, all right, there you go. This is new information because I so rarely use them, you know?
Actually, yeah, they are very, very rarely used. But I've already encountered a map created inside the app
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
because the map on the background was actually drawn into in SVG,
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
and everything then on
Hmm.
was designed in the app, and it looks
That's cool.
astonishing.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's something that I could definitely never do. I think that's more the territory of Andre in a hammock there. That's doing cooler stuff with Deneb and I guess a bit of Vega rather than Vega Lite. And I think it's also because obviously the map in Deneb, you can't use the certified version, it has to be the non-certified. And I never do anything in the uncertified version of Deneb
Mhm.
because I just know I'd never be able to use it at work. And it's like, yeah, so what's the point?
I'm not using any uncertified visuals.
Yeah.
If I'm using custom visual, only the certified ones,
Mm.
and still mostly I'm using just two
Okay.
visuals.
Yeah.
One is text search slicer,
Good one.
and second one is the app.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, it makes sense. Have you ever done that thing? I mean, where you're on a visual and you go to like the ellipses and like the three dots and you want to try to edit it and you can't do it. And then sometimes it takes my brain too long to realize the fact that I can't do it is because it's actually not a Deneb visual because I'm so used to using Deneb.
Yes, or I'm searching for a measure where I've defined how it will look like.
Yeah. It's one of these moments you're like, oh Jesus Christ, Ben, sort yourself out. What are you gonna
Yeah,
do?
but sometimes I'm pretty sure, like, how have I created this?
Hmm.
It works like normal visual.
Hmm.
Where's that measure?
Yeah.
Oh, them. It's a normal visual. Oh, them.
Yeah. Oh God. I think it's not as bad as like I have these moments where I'm trying to work out why something isn't working and I've used like, I don't know, all instead of all selected or something. I can forgive myself those because I think that's quite a standard DAX issue with all and all selected. I'm not sure, but sometimes when you do it, it's like I've been looking for like an hour and a half. I'm like, oh God damn, I just didn't type selected or something like that. This is it also what I realized the other day is that no matter how long I will do this job, I will, and this is actually pretty embarrassing to be honest. My inability to remember stupid how to calculate the percentage of a total drives me crazy. I will literally every single time I will forget that. And my wife's really good with math, remembering numbers and calculation stuff. And sometimes she'll walk in and she'll see I'm googling it. She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "What? I can't remember. Okay, I can't remember all the things." So
No,
bad.
it's impossible. If we work inside a Power BI and we're trying to remember everything, you're not capable to even remember all Power Query functions.
Yeah.
Neither the text functions or neither the all API endpoints. There's so much.
I agree, and I do want to give myself that out, but at the same time, just a mathematical calculation percentage of a grand total, I think somehow at some point should get it into my head. But I don't know. I've been working with Power BI since 2017, so give me another 6 years, I might get there. I'm not sure. I got a question from Donald. Let's bring that up.
Okay.
Any new projects you're working on? Is Reportee still going?
Reportee is still going. It's still evolving. We've currently just added completely new chapter about the field parameters inside. We've started supporting the messaging to the end users who already finished part of Reportee to bring them back into the process to restudying. And new projects, we've slightly hit it on completely beginning of this live stream, and it's my current project with something who call it like don't even get me started on usage metrics. And yeah, it's related to usage metrics. I've published today on a Twix on a X blue sky and a Mastodon,
Yeah.
the link to my GitHub repository,
True.
where you can find out the PySpark script or PySpark notebook, sorry, that is capable to run the query that will create all usage metrics report in workspaces where you have access. Then it will hammer it down with a DAX execute query endpoint, and all these data it will store into the lakehouse. So you can use them as long as you would like to, and for anything that you want to. But I need to give a credit for this because I'm not the one who come up with this idea.
Now I'm curious.
She's here with us, at least she were in the chat. Ilana brought me this idea
Cool.
because we were discussing the ability to generate these usage metrics report. And initially, we've together create the PowerShell that was mimicking the user ability to start their creating process. Then
Nice.
if split, she started working on it in PowerShell, and I work on that directly in the PySpark to be able to directly integrate it into the fabric.
Nice. Very cool. You're right, actually. Sorry, you mentioned that before. We didn't dive into it too much because I think it will be very helpful for grumpy people like myself. And yeah, like I said, I saw you post it, and I've put the link in the chat.
Thanks.
I hope it's the right one. Yes, I believe it is. And very cool. So, what is that something that you're gonna keep working on? You're gonna keep
Definitely,
developing out,
definitely.
and
It's not on the end.
all right.
We are still working on a report team. We are still working on our admin cockpit. I'm currently working on this project. And next to that, we've created something called Power BI Audit.
Okay.
So we've started auditing the Power BI tenants for others and searching for quite a lot of potential issues.
That's a lot of projects, and also they're quite broad topics as well. It's quite nice that it's so it must be a heavy amount of work. And how do you keep focused on each one at a time? To be honest,
I'm very happy that I'm not alone in our company because we have very, very much, or sorry, quite a lot of very competent people that grabbed these ideas and start developing them also. So we're just cooperating the next steps and planning it together, because I like to be in a position of something like visionary. I like the coming with ideas and creating a proof of concept. And once someone who would like to be developing it next come up, okay, it's yours.
Yeah. But something that I find interesting, I mean, especially the one that I've just posted, this usage metrics thing. The idea to create these things, and I mean, I'm sure the answer is just because you're such a generous person, to create them and then everyone can use them without monetizing them. That is always quite like an interesting comment, because you put in so much of your own time, so much of your own effort, and then you release them into the wild and say, here you go, use that. It's awesome. You're welcome.
Okay. Reporting itself is paid because it required enormous time to create it, even the POC.
Okay.
The usage metric that is currently published is completely free because I like cooperating with other great minds on these projects.
Yeah.
And quite often, I'm aiming them to be prepared for generic usage, but quite often I have some other ideas that I would like to be building up on that, and they mostly are paid.
Okay, makes sense.
So it's like a combination.
Yeah.
Like if you would like to be creating something on that, it's completely fine. Is the layer, I will still be working on them. because that's something that I will also use. And in that case, we will be using completely the same. And then it's just up to you if you build something on that or not. But I'm standing behind what I built, and I believe in that, and I believe in cooperation with others to making things much more better. Because every single time we are scoped just to our minds, and without others, we're not able to make it much more better because we don't have complete imagination of everything.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. It's a very thorough answer, and I appreciate it. It's because it's just something that came in mind there. I love this, by the way, on the report to you, the use Power BI reports with the cleverness of a British gentleman. I like it. It's very good. I like that little top. It's very nice thing. I'll be honest. It's something that I've never looked at, and now I feel bad about that. But now I'm gonna have a look and make myself less ignorant on this topic. Sorry, sorry about that, man.
It's okay. It's completely okay. The early beginning of the reporting was the idea, and the idea actually came up from our customers. They've asked us, okay, if I will click into the report, everything will filtered. Does it mean that I've broke something? Okay, let's build something that it will not work, it will not break, and it will help these end users to adopt to a Power BI, to its capabilities, and it will support all internal teams in the companies to be able to use all possibilities that they can, but this tool will do the adoption.
That's cool. It's a good idea. I like it a lot. Very nice. I'm gonna maybe do some linking and documentation there. What are you gonna do? Very nice. Very cool. I've got to ask a very specific question that I basically always feel that I have to ask now because it was something that Jeff Weir started ages ago. Nothing too worrying. Don't worry. If you had to change one thing with inside Power BI, what would be the first thing that you'd want to change and why? Oh, the glasses are coming off. You know straight away what's going to happen here.
Can I say 10 of them? Not just the one.
I'll give you two. I'll be fair, all right?
Okay. Actually, if you would ask me like a month ago,
Okay.
I know what I will say as a first point. But meanwhile, something magical happened and we've received that. So first, thank you so much, Microsoft, for hearing us and bringing us support for service principles as authentication inside Web Connector. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
I was asking for that from the beginning of a Power BI.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was something that I've needed. And finally, thanks to that, I can completely take down all my repositories for Power Query to extracting Power BI REST API, even the custom connector for that, because right now I can rewrite it to much more easier way and directly use that.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
also nice to give them some credit for the good work that they do instead of being, we start off quite negatively there. So good one.
So now I can go for the 2 points.
Yeah, exactly. You're being nice, now be cruel.
Okay, first is actually from a Power Query again.
Okay.
Please, we really need a support for custom functions, libraries.
Okay.
We have extremely great libraries created on GitHub repositories with full of absolutely insane Power Query codes that are quite often much more capable than the native ones.
Yeah.
Like when you would like to extract the SharePoint or something from SharePoint, you would every single time go for BI consultants to Imke post, and you will use her code every single time.
Yeah, true.
Because it's the only one is capable to do it the proper way.
Yeah.
Thanks, Imke. So definitely support for these libraries. That's the main point for me.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's reasonable, to be fair. Yeah.
And the second one.
You don't have to have two. You don't want to, but
No.
You do.
I want second one. I want second one, definitely. But I'm still not sure if I will say some from DEX or from a governance perspective or the one from the visualization perspective.
Oh wow, so many options.
Yeah, so many possibilities.
You've got a very good evil finger thing there. It's very good. You've had a lot of practice there, right? Do you kind of like swivel around in your chair as you do it, just to add the evil genius? Yeah, I like it.
And my kids are somewhere around.
Right.
Okay, I think the second one. Okay, I was said that I would like to have full support of SVGs
Oh, okay.
like they should be. I would like to be able to wrote SVG with CSS Hoover pseudo elements to be able to bring the Hoover effects or on-click effects to do every normal stuff inside of them
Yeah.
to bring them more alive.
Yeah.
I'm not able to do that in adaptive cards. I'm not able to do that in Power BI. But where am I actually able to do that? Is in the PySpark notebook.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. How confident do you feel like that you'll get that sometime soon? Yeah.
I don't think I will ever receive that.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems like a big ask to be. It would be very cool, but I think it's.
Yep. I think in that case there will be many possibilities how to bring people out of the report. So it will be very hard to fix all the ways. So no, I'm not expecting to have the support, but I would like to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very reasonable. Makes me think. I was watching the maybe the last or pretty recently the Guy in a Cube live stream, and Kerry Kolosko asked a question. I'm not sure if it was meant to just to bring it to attention. Was what do we need to do to get more support for Miguel Meyer's Power BI Core Visual project? Reasonable question, I understand, because it needs more attention and stuff. And they said that it was. I mean, what I already knew because I do these calls with Miguel talking about it's part of a long project and some of it's going to take a long time to implement, and that kind of frustrated me, that answer, because I know it's true, but at the same time, and I know it's easy for someone like me to say who has literally no idea about what goes on at Microsoft and the cost of all these decisions, but when you see them roll out these like really huge projects that they've clearly been working on for years, in respect, obviously they've done a great job. It's like, really, is the core visual project really going to be until 2025? Is it because it just seems that for whatever reason, I'm not sure if he's still in the chat. With some of us talking before about the way in which the core visuals in Power BI sometimes feel so kind of backward that there's no real way of actually getting them up to a good standard, but maybe a slightly more acceptable standard. And I just don't understand why there's not more resources allocated there. Because I actually have quite often stopped referring to Power BI as a data visualization tool. First of all, because it's more than that, but also of all the things that it does, data visualization is the thing that it does the worst.
At the first, I have to agree that they've done a great job from the point the Miguel joined the program and started working on that.
Yep.
He's doing enormous amount of a job, and I think it's running incredibly well. On the other hand, I'm very happy that Power BI is currently not presented as a PowerPoint for data.
Yeah.
Because it was presented like that on many conferences from lots of high-stand people, and it created expectation that it's really just a PowerPoint. Then it was very hard to convince any customer to actually use that or reasonably pay that. But I think that there's still a lot of things that needs to be done to be ready to compare with some other PowerPoint for data. But how the capability spread with the Fabric and with all the integrations to other tools in Microsoft, like, I've said something about a capability to extract data by Power Automate and drop it into the adaptive card. This is also something where our target should be, because we as a consultants should brought the data to the people. It's not just about the people in Microsoft to be creating fancy new visuals. It's about us to utilize them and use them properly to help people understand that they can be used. And it's not about creating something bizarre. It's something that is already here. And already right now, it contains everything that we need to create stunning reports, and the report that will help us understand what's inside data.
So you would say that Power BI now currently contains everything that you need to create stunning reports?
Not everything,
Okay.
but everything what is inside is already somehow usable. And I'm not missing something so crucial in a visual layer that will stop me and brought me into some different tool.
Yeah, for sure. That I completely agree with. I think, and this maybe goes back to the work being done with by Miguel, I should say. And I think I love that the goal of that, one of the goals is to make it easier, that by default what you create just looks decent, just looks good. That has to be always has to be there as a target. I think one of my things is that Power BI doesn't now, and hopefully will in the future, it isn't set up to help people who don't know a lot to not create very ugly visualizations. And one of the things that I wish we could do is, when you obviously have your the colors that you get by default, you have your different templates, something like that. Themes. Sorry. So you have your themes, and of course you can load your own theme in. What I wish you could do was actually somehow have fewer colors in that theme, because you have to have, is it like at least 8 or something? I would like it if you could have like 4. No matter what you do, there are going to be colors there. So I actually started creating themes that would have the few colors that I wanted, plus gray, because I don't, it's just small stuff like that. And I think, though, trying to word this correctly, I get that people like experiment and click around on stuff. I think the temptation, because the way the Power BI works from the visualization perspective, is that it's too tempting to do lots of stuff, to do lots of color, to add. For example, I think Jeff Weir posted today, one of the things that drives me crazy is, when you have, like, say a what do you want to say, to call it, a bar chart with lots of categories. You can't individually with the colors, so it's just kind of like, now you're going to have color. And I think people kind of overlook sometimes the fact that the best visualizations are the ones that actually don't contain much of anything at all.
Yeah, that's completely true. If there would be too much colors, it's just a color wheel. It's nothing else. And in that case, no one would be able to receive the answer.
Yeah. And I'm going to switch off my camera back on because it's been weird. 1 second. I'm not twitching like that in real life. It's just strange cameras. Sorry.
But
Yeah, sorry, but that's just me talking about how there's a lot of things. But I agree generally what you're saying. You can create what you need to create. I think it just naturally has this a step back where it should be, because it wasn't, as you said, it wasn't developed from a particularly good place. And you mentioned this for the whole PowerPoint for data thing. Very fair point.
We also have one more issue with most of core visuals. Their settings capabilities are completely different. In one of them, we're able to use conditional formatting. In the second one, we are not able to use that.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen lots of people complaining about the native waterfall chart.
Okay, yeah.
Because of capability to change colors, to change some specific elements. No, I think it's one of the visuals that actually supports the less possible things that you can actually edit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a question that I missed before, and I don't want to leave it hanging there. Are there any tips for nicely visualizing pictures, i.e., image URLs? So yeah, image URL. So yeah, I guess you can do that. I mean, I always used to do that with the chiclet slicer, which I know sounds really weird, but the chiclet slicer for me was always the best way to display pictures, so image URL. But I think you can do it now in the new card, oh?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can definitely do that in a new card visual.
Yeah.
And I think previously, sometimes I used some image viewer, which was there. But these days, new card visual.
New card, yeah. Yeah, so
all that you need.
Previously, I always used chiclet slicer because it actually strangely was you didn't have to use it as a slicer. It would just really nicely display images. But yeah, I think I honestly I've very rarely used images in my reports. But yeah, all about the new I mean, to be fair, this is actually, we're talking about this sort of stuff. The new card visual, I do love it, by the way. It's obviously you do because SVG, right?
But if I will stay just for a moment,
please,
with that new card visual,
yeah,
I think it's great because it contains lots of possibilities, especially in case of SVGs, support of image URLs, etc. But exactly as you said, if it would be from the early beginning set up properly, like in a default, it will help much more.
Yeah.
Currently, when I add this new card visual, I need to remove padding from 4 different places.
Yeah.
Why?
That's true.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think it feels like there's like inherited code that is just, that's the problem, you know? And it's a shame because I really do like it. You have to do a reasonable amount of work. Well, I'm just going to repeat myself. You have to do a reasonable amount of work to make it look how you want, and that should be the objective, is to get rid of that.
Yeah.
It will happen. I know there's another couple of small things, like with the aligning, I think, of something, that you can never align them all to the top. There are little bits and pieces, and I know Miguel knows about them, and I'm sure he will line it out. But I think it was a good start for the project to release something like that.
Definitely. It's very easy to use.
Yeah, exactly.
It's somehow prepared, and it can be directly used. And as we saw, it's done extreme impact.
Yeah.
Because people are still talking. We are here, and we are still talking about these visuals, even after 3 months.
Yeah.
Of that.
Easy. Yeah, for sure.
That's insane.
Yeah,
but
it is. It's true.
It's great. Today, I've used it again, or maybe better would be called like we've used it again, because we've needed to create special chart. I hate these names. Which was, and sorry, I will just check one.
Oh, good. Check away, mate.
Oh, okay. We've needed to create a test tubes with blots.
Okay.
And with a percentage of filament inside.
I saw that. Yeah. That's cool.
And usually inside the Power BI, no, we will not do that. Maybe just by some hacking. Okay, I will grab some test tube, drop it into the matrix, so every single column would have it inside. Then I would grab a bar chart, put it on into the background, and then it will work.
Yeah.
But do I need two visuals? No.
Yeah.
Thanks to Card Visual, very simple SVG code or text generator for that.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, it's very cool. Actually, what I loved about it is because one of my favorite things I've ever created with Deneb was also like a thermometer type thing, which is basically a test tube but like a slightly different shape. And that was such good fun. And I think the reason I liked it so much, it was because the first time I created something, because you go from hacking core visuals, and then you go to Deneb, and then you go to hacking Deneb, not hacking, but you mean kind of doing little bits and pieces that like kind of usually shouldn't be done. And it was and it's one of those projects, I didn't need it for anything. I was just curious if I could do it. It was one of those things that you do it, and as you're doing it, you're learning so much yourself, loads of fun. And this is a thing, I can sit here and complain and be grumpy ass all I want, but it has taught me how to use Vega Lite, and to a lesser extent Vega, so it's not so terrible. I'm clutching at straws to kind of make it sound good from Power BI's perspective, because a lot of people don't have the luxury to kind of, or time, or just don't want to do that. But
the second way is
depends
on the priorities.
Exactly. I've tried. To be fair, I've had a couple of people in certainly my previous job, and hopefully my current job soon, that have kind of got into using Deneb and stuff as well. Because there's always this question, but should we use it? Because then we have to like learn this thing, and with someone that leaves, and the skill set's redundant. But you can say the same thing for so many things, to be honest. It's just one of the things that people learn. Yeah, you might not have the entire company who can learn how to write in Vega Lite. That's granted, but it's nice to have an extra couple of skill sets in a company. Can't hurt.
Definitely.
Yeah. I just realized that I've been just keeping you here far too long. I do apologize. It's well past 10 o'clock.
For me, it's fine. I can still go. I remember when we were recording the podcast.
That's so true. Yeah, that's true. Oh, that went on for quite a while. It was good fun, though. I really enjoyed it. It was cool.
Because for the ones who don't know, when we were recording that, our longest session that we ever had was actually with Ben, and I think it was 1 hour and 45 minutes, something around.
It was a long time. It was just kind of like another medium in which I refuse to shut up and just keep on talking about stuff. Oh man, it was good fun though. It was good fun. Anyway, I'll wrap it up, because I need to do other bits and pieces. I need to maybe do a little bit of sport to work off the too much cake I had before we started. And but yeah, mate, thank you so much for joining. I had a really nice chat, really good time.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and it was a huge fun.
Good, I'm pleased you enjoyed it. Everyone in the chat, I really appreciate, as ever, all the comments and the questions and stuff. And I will be back next Thursday, and as ever, I can't remember with whom, because my memory is shocking, but I will be here most likely. And again, thanks very much to everyone, and Steve, have a good one, mate.
Have a good night.
Love it. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.